cheap IKEA dining chair. So that's all you need for today. We're going to do a little bit of chair yoga. So just start sitting down, and I sit, and I'll show you from the side. It might be a little bit better. I sit at the front edge of the chair. So you don't want to sit all the way back and lean into the chair. Very important to sit a little bit further in front, and this way I can bring my pelvis into a neutral position. So if you see my lumbar curve here, we still want this to be present, and then I'm really trying hard to lift up through the crown of the head and melting the shoulder blades down at the back. So let me turn around again. So just take a moment, close your eyes for a moment. Once you're in this position, just taking a few deep breaths. Just letting go of the day so far, and set the intention to stay completely present for the next few minutes for this practice that we're doing. Everything else can wait. Really tuning into your breath. So observe your breath, breathing in and out through the nose. And see if you can imagine just softening a little bit more through the tops of the shoulders with every exhale. You might want to imagine a beautiful light in your favorite color, just radiating out from the tops of the shoulders, just filling the shoulders, filling the whole back with warmth, positivity, radiance, new energy. Spreading comfort into the whole of the body, especially the back and the shoulders. And you are in complete control, so you can send this light into any parts of the body that need it. Good, and then slowly open the eyes, and we're going to start to circle the shoulders. So just start with very gentle movements, just little movements of the shoulders, circular. And in the beginning it might be more of an up and down. That's okay. So without any judgment, just bringing in some movement. It takes a little bit of practice sometimes, and I always like to open the elbows out to the sides a little bit, so you're making a little bit more space, so you can gradually let those movements become bigger and bigger, still breathing in and out through the nose. So as if you're giving yourself a lovely shoulder massage. And then slowly releasing. And from here we're going to do a little cat-cow movement sitting on the chair. So if you've done a little bit of practice with me before, you will have done cat-cow on all fours. And I'll turn around again this time so you can see it from the side. So hands on the thighs, inhale to lift the chest, slightly looking up. Just has to be slight looking up, so you're not overstretching the neck. And then start to round through the spine, leaning back slightly, but keep the hands on the knees and draw up the head forward. So inhale to lift the chest, maybe slightly looking up. So you're arching the back a little bit, and then exhale to round. And you can see from the video I have quite a hard time rounding here through the lower part of my back. Inhale and exhale. So ideally we want to have a nice even curve around the back, but obviously we all have different shapes. So don't get caught up in what it looks like too much. Exhale. Just getting some movement into the spine. Inhale and exhale. Let's do one more. Inhale, looking up, and then exhale, rounding, and the pelvis tips forward. Good. Coming back to center. Let's do a little twist. So just bring the left hand down somewhere behind you. Bring the right hand onto the left knee. Inhale, lift and lengthen up. And then exhale, just very gently twisting yourself towards the left, looking over the left shoulder. So very important to sit up tall here. Inhale and exhale. Maybe twisting a little bit further. But you listen to your body. You're in complete control. So if something doesn't feel right, then it's probably not right for you today. It doesn't mean that it's like this every day. So let's slowly come back to center. So never write something completely off because it doesn't work for you on one day. Try again the next day, it might be different. So right hand onto the chair now, left hand onto the right knee. Inhale, lift and lengthen up. And then exhale, twisting yourself around, looking over the right shoulder. Good. One last breath. And then slowly coming back to center. Good. We're going to come to standing up. Good. So I had to slightly move my camera, but it's still same chair, as you can see here. So I just have the chair in front of me. And I'm going to place my hands onto the top. So don't worry if you haven't got a chair which looks like mine. It works with any chair really. Even your kitchen counter will work. And I'm about one good step away from the chair. So this is my starting position. And from here I'm going to bend my knees slightly. So I'm softening through my knees. Good. So I would either do this barefoot, and you can have your yoga mat on the ground. I'm actually wearing shoes for this today because I've just been on the school run, bringing the kids to school. So don't worry, if you don't have a lot of time, this does not take a lot of time. You can do it in between chores or in between school runs or in between, you can do it at work, wherever you need to. So don't feel like you always need to have your bolster, your yoga mat, your blocks and everything with you. As I said, this only requires a chair. So bending your knees a little bit, so we're softening through the knees. And then from there, I'm really trying to bring my tailbone back. So I'm extending my tailbone. So just imagine this kind of bottom bit of the spine. And imagine that it's extending away from the crown of the head. So the tailbone is obviously curled in slightly. So technically this is not completely possible. The tailbone will be pointing down. But see if you can visualize the bottom tiniest bit at the bottom of the spine pointing backwards. So you can see my lumbar curve is coming back here. So this is a neutral position for the spine. It's not collapsing into here and it's not rounding either. So finding a neutral position, and you can always try just tipping the pelvis backwards and forwards a few times. So this takes years of practice to find your neutral position, and especially with scoliosis, it's quite tricky, but don't give up, you will find it. So extending through the spine, so as if you're creating lots and lots of space in between the vertebrae. So I'm extending also at the same time as I'm extending backwards. I'm also extending the crown of the head away from my tailbone. So I'm really trying to lengthen through the spine. So remember, this is not a arching, and I'm not trying to round my shoulders either. So the shoulders are nice and relaxed. Keep breathing. So we'll take a few breaths. And maybe have someone with you for the first time that you do this, so you know where your head should be. So sometimes it's quite difficult to find the neutral place for the head. So this would not be neutral, and this would also not be neutral. This is where I'm compressing the back of the neck. So really lengthening, and I'm bringing my chin slightly in. Good. So what this does, it's a beautiful strengthening exercise actually for the spine, just finding lots and lots of length. And then we can adjust it for your scoliosis. So for left lumbar scoliosis, we're going to imagine we're going to lengthen through the right waist a little bit more and moving the tailbone as if the tailbone is pointing diagonally backwards towards the left slightly. So it's just kind of extending through the side of the body, through the right waist. And I know this is hard to see, but it's basically just a kind of a shift of the bottom over towards the left. So imagining lengthening the right waist. For right lumbar scoliosis, we're going to do the complete opposite. We're going to imagine we're lengthening through the left waist a little bit more, as if the tailbone is pointing diagonally backwards towards the right. So that's the adjustment for lumbar scoliosis. Now for right thoracic curve, we're going to move the chair just slightly, so the right leg of the chair will stay the same. We're just going to slightly move the left side of the chair away from you. So what we want to do is lengthen the left side of the body a little bit more. So that's the adjustment for the arms for right thoracic curve. Left thoracic curve, we're going to bring the right side of the chair a bit away from you, so turning the chair towards the left. So we're making space on the right side of the shoulder. So adjust the pose accordingly, and then you stay there and breathe. Now this is a preparation in a way for downward dog, but it's also not even a preparation. There's actually much more than that. So you can really start to lengthen the spine in a really productive way. So you could be much closer towards the chair, by the way. So if that was too much, come a bit closer. And if you want to change it slightly, you just come a little bit further away. What I wouldn't do is go lower than a 90-degree angle, because then you're just going to kind of hang in there, and it's more about stretching the legs. So that's not what we want to do with this one. This is a strengthening one. By the way, you can use a kitchen counter. You can do this against the wall, just lightly having the fingertips touching the wall. So you don't even need a chair for this one. Good. So when you've had enough, then you're slowly coming back up. And just come back to the chair. Take a few breaths to relax. Just letting the body absorb what it has learned. Imagining, just noticing how you're feeling. And then slowly open the eyes. Good, so they're just little tips and tricks and poses you can do throughout the day. Just try to build them into your daily life. So rather than saying, oh, I need to do 1 hour of yoga every day, not realistic. So not even for me, and this is actually my job. I don't have time to do an hour yoga practice every single day. I've got little children, I've got a life as well. So you need to make it realistic for yourself and don't beat yourself up if you don't have a lot of time. Just little 5 minutes here and there will definitely make a big difference.